We've been lifting up the music of this moment. And another very important and very strategic element of these actions that have been taking place is the role of visuals in lifting up the symbols of our movement. And in this case, the symbols of Palestinian resistance. And so I wanted to take a moment to just lift up some of these symbols of Palestinian resistance that folks may recognize from being out in the streets. And then I'm going to invite who I call the Rachels, my comrades who have been supporting art builds, mass art builds in DC and New York City in particular, but have been a part of this long tradition of using art as a tool for lifting up the values, the history, and the resistance of our movements. And so here are a few pictures. Like I said, it's just a few symbols that wanted to lift up in this moment. One is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, or the Dome of the Rock. The Al-Aqsa compound is located in Jerusalem, in the Old City. And if you look to the photo in the right-hand corner at the top, it's a group of folks. I was fortunate to be a part of a delegation of faith leaders in August of this year with Friends of Sabeel North America. Sabeel is a liberation theology organization based in Jerusalem, Palestine, and we were able to go as a group of faith leaders and artists to visit Palestine. And one of the important pieces of Palestinian culture, of history that dates back thousands, hundreds of years, is the Al-Aqsa compound. And so that you may see some sort of like silhouette or symbol that uses the Dome of the Rock as representation of Palestinian liberation, the fact that Palestine has been there and has been and will continue to be there. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll see this caricature, this cartoon called Handala, which is a symbol, another symbol of Palestinian resistance. It is a cartoon by Naji Al-Ali, a cartoonist. It was first debuted in 1973. This character, Handala, you will see in many of the images of Palestinian resistance. It's a 10-year-old child, and it represents the age that Naji was when they were expelled from their homeland in 1948 as a result of the first stage of Israeli occupation. And Naji would say that Handala would remain 10 years old until Palestine is free and Handala can return home and finally grow up. At the hands behind the back, the bare feet, it represents a humble figure that always is in solidarity with the poor and the dispossessed around the world. And so you'll see this figure often. And in 1948, you'll hear this term a lot, the Nakba, which is the what is thought about as this first instance, although it goes back further, the occupation and this sort of taking of the land goes back further, but is really talked about in 1948, where over 700,000 Palestinians were dispossessed of their homes and removed from their homeland. Over 500 Palestinian villages were taken over. In the top left corner, it's another picture from our delegation where we were in the neighborhood of Solon, which is a neighborhood that you could actually see Al-Aqsa compound from. And this neighborhood has many art projects that represents the symbols of resistance. And in this piece, you'll see two pieces, which are the poppy flower, which is known as the flower of Palestine. You'll often see the red, green, and white, which represents these colors represent the poppy flower, the leaves and its stem, and then the keffiyeh, which many of us are wearing. I'm wearing a top with the keffiyeh. The keffiyeh goes back as far as 1936. Um, in the Arab Revolt that took place between 36 and 1939, and has been used as a symbol of being in solidarity with Palestinian resistance throughout the world. I'm sure folks have seen some pretty cool keffiyehs out there on the streets. You'll also see in this photo down here the key, the Palestinian key, as a symbol of resistance, a right to return. For folks, who are from Palestine, many people still have the keys to their homes that they were expelled from. And so this key is a promise that Palestinians will return to their homeland one day. And another set of symbols are here. This is also from the village of the neighborhood of Sawan in the lower right hand corner, and you see images of the olive tree, which is known as a symbol of Palestine. Wherever you see the olive tree, you know that a Palestinian family has been there, that Palestinians have been there, have planted, have cultivated. And even under occupation, many Palestinians often will sneak on to their, homeland, their original homeland, and nurture the olive trees that are there. And so wherever you see an olive tree, you know that a Palestinian had been there. Um, the finches, the national bird of Palestine is the sunbird, and these golden finches are another representation of Palestine. And then last but not least, I know I'm rushing through this, I apologize, but just wanting you all to get a feel, is this symbol of the watermelon that people may have seen. So following the 1967 Arab-Israeli war, Israel banned the display of the Palestinian flag, and so people weren't allowed um, to wave the Palestinian flag. And so a group of artists, including artist Khaled Hourani, came together as a collective and thought about, like, how could you represent Palestine without the flag? And so thinking, what has the colors red, green, and black? A watermelon. And so often you'll see watermelon as a symbol of resistance.